Last week, I raced the famous Falmouth 7-mile road race. Many of the best runners in the US show up every year, so I wanted to test myself as I continue to train for a half marathon. I documented the week of training leading up to the event and captured race day for you all to see. This was my experience at Falmouth. So the workout I was given on the week of the race was some threshold work mixed in with some faster stuff as well. Massive shout out to my dad for filming my workout. Overall, I felt a little bit flat on this day. I was on a family vacation in Cape Cod on the week of the race, so it was super convenient and close by for us to go. I would have liked to feel a little bit more fresh for the workout, but it's okay because I knew that my body was going to recover. On this week, I only did about 65 miles as opposed to 80 to 85 because I was tapering for the race. In general though, I checked off all the boxes, got the job done on the workout, and was feeling confident that I could run somewhere in the low 5-minute range for the race on Sunday. Alright guys, it is the day before the Falmouth road race, a 7-mile race in beautiful Cape Cod. It's going to be about a 90-minute drive there tomorrow morning, but today we're just going to do a easy 5-mile shakeout run. Plus, in my hand here, I have the Alpha Fly 3s. I've never worn this shoe before, but I've heard great things. So after this run, we're going to fire up the drone, get some strides. So I'm looking forward to hopefully having these shoes help us out for the 7-mile race. And yeah. We finished up the run, got some bagels with my dad right now. Tomorrow's gonna be a busy day, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Good luck.
So right from the gun, you can see that we actually started 15 meters behind the elite field. So obviously I did not get an elite field bib, and I honestly should not have even been allowed into the race, but the meet directors were able to pull some strings last minute. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to compete in this incredible race. I had an amazing time, but I was in the seated section, or at least I ran with the seated section. So that's why you see I'm in about 5th or 6th for my section right here, which started right after the elites. And my goal was to try to finish as high up as possible in that field, but I wanted to go out conservative for this race. So you can see we are coming up to the first mile of the race, and boom, I came through in 5:09, which is honestly pretty slow for a big road race like this, but I was scared, people. I've never done a distance over 6 miles before, ever. So I wanted to be conservative through the beginning, and as you can see as well, it is hilly as hell on this course in the beginning. Actually, I shouldn't say it's that hilly, but it is quite, rolling for this longer sort of race. So I didn't want to go out too fast, and it was also pretty humid out there because it gets humid on the East Coast in the summertime. But as of now, I was in about 4th place. Actually, I was in 5th place for my seated section. 5th or 4th, right around this guy right here. And there were 2 guys up ahead that I was just kind of looking after, and we're going up and down. But boom, we come through mile 2 in 5:14. So, again, mile 2 was pretty slow for the course, and that was the harder hilly mile out there. Also, while we're at it, let's get a shout out to Koros and Insta360 for this absolutely sick footage. It's insane. You got the race course, you got the time, the distance, everything. It's incredible. But I started to work up and try to catch up to these 2 guys in front of me, and as you can see, the elite guys were gone. They were completely out of the picture, and looking back, I wonder if I should have gone out quicker, because I do end up closing a lot faster. But we're just gonna have to see how this thing pans out right here. But I started to catch up to the guys who are in 2nd and 3rd place for the seated section. There was one more guy up ahead, but also the fans out here were unbelievable. This is probably the most fun race I've ever done in my life. So coming up to mile 3, I ran a 5:08 mile, so started to pick it up, and you can see because I'm catching up to these guys who are right in front of me, and my plan was to just try to run with them now. And again, look at how big these crowds are, people. It's incredible how awesome people were out here. But yeah, I wasn't hurting really too much at all at this point, and the alpha flies were feeling amazing on my shoes, but on my feet. I just passed that guy, so now I am in 3rd place for the seated section, folks. So we're pretty much about halfway through the race at this point, and I can't believe that I found myself in no man's land. I really thought, because this race has 11,000 people in it, that I would be running around more people, but I guess I was just running an awkward pace that wasn't quite fast enough for the elites, but not quite slow enough for most of the seated field. So I was just surprised that I found myself so alone out there. But here we are coming up on mile 4. I ran a 5:07, so that is our fastest mile so far, and we've only got 3 miles to go, so it's time to crank it down and try to catch up to this guy in front of us. And guys, again, I just want to shout out the crowds once more. You guys were incredible. Like, there was just thousands of people out there, and that's just type of an atmosphere that you don't get in track. So I have never experienced anything like this before, and I hope to be able to return next year. But we're going to speed it up again, and this is where I was like, what, I need to catch up to this guy in front of me, because I'm completely alone. He was completely alone as well, and at this point, I got to compete with somebody. So started to slowly reel him in as we get closer to 5 miles, and I was thinking to myself right here, shoot, I think I went out a little bit too conservative, because we only have about a little over 2 miles to go, and I didn't feel that bad. And I think that's a really good sign for this half marathon in the future. I think I can run a hopefully pretty similar pace as I did for this race. But here we are, mile 5, 5:02, our new fastest mile of the race. And look, we're catching up to our opponent right here, who is in 2nd place. I don't even know where the 1st place guy in the seated section is, but here we are. Actually, we're about to pass an elite guy who was probably having a tough day out there, but so we're about to just zoom on right by him. I made sure to grab water at this aid station here, and I was actually grabbing water at most of the aid stations, so I don't know if I need to do that or if I don't need to, but I figured I kind of felt like I should, because it was super, super humid out, and even though it was cloudy, the humidity can really get to you. But guys, I have fully reeled in the seated section 2nd place guy right here, so I'm about to try to just hang with him towards the finish line. Unfortunately, my camera died right before 6 miles, but my dad was at the 6 mile marker. I ran a 5:01 for mile 6, and I was only feeling better and better at this point, so I wanted to close this thing up fast. But what are we going to run, folks? I was able to get by that guy in 2nd place, and here I am finishing now in a time of 35:46. I closed in 4:53, so I was super hyped, folks. So let's look at the stats. I finished in 31st place overall, and I came in 2nd place for the seated section. I was right behind the guy who did finish in 1st for the seated section, named Tyler. He was bib 500, but then every other bib around us was a 50 or lower bib, which was the elite section. So I think next year, if we do this race, we should be in the elite section, which is really exciting. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Falmouth road race and listen to our podcast, folks. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.